Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar Outlook Connector, hosted by FSM. My name is Raphael Hübner. I am part of the partner management department at Core Systems. And yeah, I want to welcome you. We are going to start directly. I don't want to lose a lot of words. I will hand over to another Raphael who's taking part. It is Raphael Bösch from FSM, and he is going to introduce you to the Outlook connector. Just an information before we start is that we will record this session and I will send it to everyone who is participating afterwards via email. So, Raphael, the stage is yours.
Thanks a lot. Good morning, everyone from my side as well. Hello. My name is Raphael Bösch. As Raphael Hübner already said, I am a solution consultant and a project manager at FSM AG, and I will guide you through this presentation this morning. First of all, I want to quickly inform you about FSM, about what we do, and then we will go straight to the functionality and the benefits of our newly developed Outlook connector. You will then get a live demonstration of the connector, how it works, together with SAP FSM. And then to conclude, you will get some information about the installation and configuration requirements, just to let you know what kind of work needs to be done before you can actually use the connector. Good. First of all, FSM, we are a small company founded in 2014 with our head office in Zurich. Our main competence is basically to sell and implement FSM solutions, mainly SAP FSM, but we also develop ERP connectors. So whenever you are interested in linking your ERP with SAP FSM, we are also good to do that. And we also develop some special add-ons like the one you will be introduced to today. Yeah, let's go straight to the connector. First of all, how does our Outlook connector work? We have on one side SAP FSM, which is always the master of the data. And on the other side, we have Outlook, the calendar, where we create entries by using the data from SAP FSM. So the connector is a unidirectional tool that synchronizes data from SAP FSM to the Outlook calendar. So at any time, the SAP FSM remains the master of the data. So as soon as you have an activity in the timeline of the technician and you hit the release assignment button, it will create a new entry in the calendar. The functionality that we provide with our connector is basically the synchronization of activities, meaning that we copy the data from SAP FSM to the Outlook calendar, which allows other people to check the details in the Outlook calendar, and there is no need for to check this stuff in SAP FSM. So we create new calendar entries where we also send a lot of information. It's not only a plain entry, we also send details like the title. That can be usually the service call subject. We also send details regarding the business partner and the address, the location where the job takes place, and further details like, of course, start and end date, the duration of the job, and there can be more details assigned to the entry that depends on the requirements of the customer. So basically we can add any object that is used in the activity or the service call to be displayed in the entry as well. But we do not only create The entries, we also update them. So whenever there is a change to the service call, meaning times change, location changes, whatever, the update will be reflected in the calendar entry as well. And same goes for the deletion. So when you unassign a certain activity from a technician, it will also delete the calendar entry in the Outlook app. The benefits that we think our Outlook connector can provide is, of course, the easy scheduling within Outlook. So Outlook remains, or as is the main planning instrument where you schedule your meetings. You have a visual planning, and you do not need to go to SAP FSM to check the technician's availability. That leads to faster and more efficient scheduling, which is especially helpful when you have team meetings, when you have meetings beyond department borders, for instance, or when you need to find a perfect time slot for a meeting with a lot of technicians where you don't want to check every single technician's availability. Good thing also is that it can be used with by all employees, meaning that all you need is an Outlook calendar, and you need the service technician needs to share his calendar, not necessarily the details, but the availability, and everyone, for instance, HR people or the manager of a different department can check his availability. So it's even possible to schedule meetings outside of the service department within Outlook and with the correct availability of the service technician. That means, of course, it prevents conflicts while you do the scheduling, and it also gives us the chance to look at the schedule of a certain technician mobile on the mobile app. For instance, the service manager is on the way, and he needs to make sure that the technician is available on Friday afternoon. He could check it on the go and does not need to check it in SAP FSM. That also means it is not necessarily required to have a SAP FSM license to check workforce management when it comes to availability. Good. Yeah, let's go straight to the demo. Before I start, I want to just quickly inform you that my demo environment is a bit different than it should be when you install the connector at the customer site. Right now, I'm using an external domain for the Exchange server, and I have the connector installed on my personal client. Usually, you would install the connector on a server. And since the server is self-certified, it sometimes happens that there is a safety message popping up, but that should not be the case. Nevertheless, the functionality is the same. So first of all, we have here the Outlook calendar of our service technician from this week. I have a mobile version here, and we have the SAP FSM right here, where we have the technicians, where we have the service calls, and well, what we usually do is we just take one open service call, and we assign it to a certain technician. We have within the service call the details like the subject, planned start date, etc. We also have notes for the technician in here, for instance. And yeah, all I do is I release the assignment, and that is the moment when the color changes to green, of course, and when it is also transferred to the technician's Outlook calendar, meaning we have basically a copy of the activity in the calendar. That means we have the title, the subject of the service call, we have the type of the service call at this very moment, and we have the location where this job needs to take place, plus test 5 user here is, in that case, the service technicians name. If I go to the details, we can see here within the entry that we have a bit more details. We also have the name of the customer, and down here the notes for the technician if there is anything that you need to transfer to him. These fields are default at the moment, so there is the opportunity for every customer to modify the entry of this or the information given within the entry. We have also here start and end date, which is from 11 to 1 at the moment. What happens if I modify the time? So for instance, let's just prolong it a little bit. We have it now, it's now from 11 to 2. Same happens in the calendar main, basically real time. So whenever I do a change, also same goes with the switch, with the total switch from one time to another. Same happens in the Outlook calendar, more or less in real time. So now it's on, it's 1 in the afternoon and ending on 4. So this is pretty straightforward, pretty easy to handle, and it is also, as I said, more or less real time, which allows planning at any time with the correct data. Also, if there are changes in here, let's say the subject changes a little bit and we add some new nodes for the technician, I edit the activity in SAP FSM. Also, this change will immediately be reflected in the Outlook calendar. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, and we also have the new nodes within the entry. So this is pretty straightforward, pretty easy to handle, and not much really to worry about once you have installed the Outlook calendar. The other thing, as soon as I unassign this job from the technician and it goes back to the pool, it will also be removed from the calendar pretty much immediately. So this is the main functionality that we provide with our Outlook connector. So that is what I wanted to show you today. But I would also like to give you some information about how the connector really works. We have currently 2 different versions. One is the online version, and the other one is on the premise, meaning the only difference basically is that you have the connector here communicating with an Office 365 Exchange server, and the Exchange server then creates new entries basically from the cloud, whereas on premise you usually have your Exchange server within your own infrastructure. So that is the main difference. Currently supported is the Exchange server version 2016, but 2013 as well as 2010 can also be supported or are supported at the moment. Then when we come to installation and configuration, there is a certain type of work that needs to be done before you can actually use it, of course. When you order the connector, you will get an installation program that needs to be installed on the Exchange server. That means it is a new service that runs on the server, and it does not require any installation on a client, which is very helpful because you don't have to get every notebook of the service technician back to the office and install something on that. So this is very, very convenient. Then there are certain manual adjustments of the Exchange server that need to take place. We provide a config file that needs to be modified and adapted to the infrastructure details. That means, for instance, changing username, password, IP addresses, etc. The total effort is approximately 4 hours. That means within half a day, usually you should get all the work done and get the connector to work. Then we also provide a set of business rules that are 3 templates that we deliver. These business rules also need slight changes, but the effort there is only about 1 hour. Then when it comes to the installation, we have 3 possibilities. Either the customer does it all by himself. This is possible because we provide documentation both in German and English. But it can also be done, of course, by a core systems partner, and of course, also Opus M AG is very keen on helping the customers to get this to work if the customer wants this. Some more detailed measures regarding the configuration. We need the connector service to grant access through the firewall, of course, first of all, and also enable the access to the web services in the Office 365 portal. Then SAP FSM needs a firewall access, and we recommend to create a new user for the connector. That needs to be, of course, in the Active Directory, and it also needs to be synchronized with the Azure Cloud Office 365. This user needs certain rights, because this user will be the one that creates and modifies and deletes the calendar entries. So he needs those rights and those authorizations. On the other hand, on-premise, of course, it's basically the same, but of course, the service needs the access to the Exchange server within the infrastructure. Additional to the cloud version, we need to validate certificates for SSL over HTTP, but it's not a big thing anyway. More details anyway regarding installation will be delivered. Of course, you will get a detailed installation and configuration setup once you decided to go for the configurator, for the connector. Then business rules. As I mentioned, we have 3 different business rules: one that creates the entry, one that updates it, and one that deletes it. Those are, of course, also the triggers. So once you create the service call, you update it or you delete it, the business rules will be triggered and will create the entry. Within the business rules, we also define the content, meaning that we have an XML sheet that will be generated with all the content. And that also means that we can modify the XML file according to what we basically want to see in the calendar entry. We have entity, of course, person, title, type, and additional fields to be defined. But we can also, for instance, set a color to every calendar entry that comes from SAP FSM, for instance, is marked as red or orange or whatever. And we can also change, for instance, the alarm setting. So when the technician needs a reminder, 30 minutes or 15 minutes, we can also change this within the business rule. So that is basically it. A quick overview from my side what our Outlook connector can do. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have commercial requests regarding price, etc., feel free to call or contact Ralf Sonderecker. He is the CEO of Opus M, and you will find his credentials right here.
So, sorry, don't want to interrupt. Are there any?
It's okay. Yeah.
Are there any questions from the audience? Is there anyone? You can use the question box to write down a question if you have one. So far, I can't see that somebody is typing anything. Okay. Now there is the question. Is it possible for an engineer to send data back to FSM from Outlook?
No, this is currently not possible, and it's also not foreseen because we want to have SAP FSM as the main tool or the main container of data. So no, that's not possible.
Okay.
Or you would of course need to use SAP FSM, but as soon as you modify a calendar entry in Outlook, the changes will not be reflected in SAP FSM. That's very important to know or to be aware of.
Okay. And an addition question was if we will share this presentation. Yes, we will.
Sure.
It's recording at the moment. So everyone who's participating will receive this recording afterwards in an email.
Yes. And of course, if you have further questions after consulting the presentation one more time, feel free to send me an email or give me a call. That's no problem at all.
Okay. All right. So, are there further questions? There is another question. If it is possible to set up a demo or is it possible to have a demo system set up for resellers?
A demo set up for resellers. Oh, well, I would have to check that first. But basically, I would say it can be, or it is theoretically possible, but we do not use our own infrastructure in order to make those presentations. So I would need to check that.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot answer that at the moment. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, because there's the additional info from the audience that this one or this participant has a demo system for FSM, which they use for demo, and they think it would be just a great additional, a great addition for the demo system to show that this is possible as well.
Yeah, I would need to discuss this. I'm not sure, or I'm sorry, I cannot answer this right away. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think we can handle this afterwards.
Of course, yeah.
Then there will be, I think, a great solution for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, any further questions so far? Okay, so I would say, or I assume that so far all questions are answered. If there are more questions afterwards, after this webinar, just contact, of course, Raphael Bösch. The credentials are inside of the presentation, or of course you can contact us as well, and then we handle everything. Okay, now there is a question again. Regarding the demo system being questioned, can you also send the details once you confirmed it? Okay, all right. Yes, I think we can do this. Then I think it would be good to clarify this first in general, and then we can inform everyone if it's possible or what.
Mm-hmm.
we are possible to do, or you.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely possible. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So in this case, I would just say thank you, Raphael,
You're very
for
welcome.
this webinar. Very interesting thing. And of course, also thank you to all the participants for taking part. And then I would suggest that we just send the email in the next step with the recording and the information, and then keep in touch, everyone.
Good.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye.